The Black Rose McQueen. I wanted to give a shout out to Ring IQ Boxing, and remember to tune in to the motherfucking relay.
Welcome to the motherfucking relay. We're covering today's top boxing news. Ow!
Okay, we'll start with this. Will Keith Thurman to Errol Spence fight me or leave the division? He was quoted as saying, "I'm ready to get back in with all this competition. My mind mentally would love a rematch with Manny Pacquiao. I think it's a worthy rematch and deserved a rematch. It's an epic fight. It's whatever doors will open. If I have to fight Sean Porter, Mikey Garcia, Danny Garcia, I'd be surprised if Errol Spence hops on the table right away. But there are so many opportunities. It's hard for someone to show me an opportunity and watch me say no. I could maybe take a tune-up, but I like great fights and significant challenges. Whoever I fight, I know there's going to be a following. I want to make it worth my while. Those training camps are not easy. I want my opponent to be worthy of all the pain and suffering that is involved in the whole event for it to be really worthwhile." In reference to Errol Spence, Keith says everyone is gunning for him, and if he wants to stay champion, he's going to have to answer to everybody or follow after his predecessor and dodge everybody, and pick who he chooses, Thurman said. He's faced some of my competition, but he's never faced me. I did that with Errol when he fought Sean Porter. I got a lot of people that think the way that I beat Porter was better. Errol is going to have to give me my respect, one way or another. If he doesn't want to see me at 147, he's going to have to leave the division. One might hear these comments and find it comical that Keith Thurman, of all people, thinks he's in a position to make demands.
Right.
To make demands of Errol Spence, of all people. Errol Spence, who, a few years ago, Keith didn't seem too interested in facing.
You guys remember?
In those days, it was Errol Spence calling out Keith Thurman, chasing him down, trying to get a fight that Keith Thurman was none too interested in giving him. The tables have since turned, and now Keith Thurman thinks he's in a position to make demands, coming off a loss to an aged Manny Pacquiao. The truth is, Keith Thurman is not actually in line for an Errol Spence fight. He's not a mandatory to any one of the 2 world titles that Errol Spence currently holds. He doesn't have a world title himself.
And he knows that.
And if he knows that, one is left to wonder why he's wasting his time, why he's wasting his breath.
It's desperation.
It's an exit strategy, is what it is. What Keith Thurman really wants is maybe 1 or 2 last paydays before he wraps it up,
Hangs him up.
calls it a career. That's what this is. That's why he'd rather waste his own time calling out Manny Pacquiao, of all people, for a rematch that isn't going to happen.
Right.
Or demanding that Errol Spence give him the time of day.
Knowing that he's spoken for.
I mean, at least right now he is. Knowing that Errol Spence, in all likelihood, is going to fight Danny Garcia next. If you want the truth, here's the truth. Keith Thurman is trying his best to seem relevant in a sport that he has clearly fallen out of love with.
That's what it is.
Keith Thurman, of his own volition, let himself go. Let himself get out of shape. And he admitted this already. What you have in Keith Thurman is an injury-prone fighter who even here and now is coming off an injury.
It's all the time with this guy.
Injury-prone fighter who is often inactive, let himself go, let himself get out of shape.
He admitted that.
Is hoping to talk himself into a big fight, talk himself into a big payday. Keith Thurman is a lot of things right now.
He's something.
Often injured, inactive,
Yeah.
annoying. But what he's not is a competitor. He's not a competitor of any kind. Because if Keith Thurman really still had that competitive drive and that competitive spirit, he wouldn't waste his time calling out Manny Pacquiao for a rematch that ain't gonna happen.
Right.
And he wouldn't waste his time calling out Errol Spence here and now when we all know that Errol Spence is spoken for.
Right.
If Keith Thurman really had any competitive drive left, he'd be pursuing Terrence Crawford. Because as we all know, it's the name of Terrence Crawford that for at least 2 years now has been attached to the name of Errol Spence. If Keith Thurman here today is fighting to be relevant, fighting to become a world champion once again, the best way to go about it would be to throw a monkey wrench into those plans, assuming there even are any. And if you ask me, there aren't. But better still, if you want to be relevant and you want to make a splash, you want to go back to being the kind of fighter that you were,
Go after Bud.
you fight Terrence Crawford. You see if you can take that title away from him, get it back to the PBC side of things, and then you use that title to stage a unification match with Errol Spence. That's if Keith Thurman were a competitor of any kind. That's just it. He's not.
We know.
We all know he's not. I mean, I think we all do by now. There's a reason that the tables have turned for Keith Thurman. And it's because of something that I've been telling you guys for a while now.
Yeah.
It's because of what I told you in a previous video in reference to some comments made by a Cuban fighter, PBC stable, that goes by the name of Nerys Ugas. Ugas, like Keith Diamond, he doesn't want to be the best. He just wants to get paid. I mean, that's what Ugas had to say about it. That as far as fighters go, don't believe any fighter that goes on and on about legacy. That's not what they really want. What they really want, all they want, is just to get paid. That's according to Ugas. And I just so happen to think that Keith Diamond shares that ideology, shares in that hierarchy of thought. Keith Diamond's not calling out Manny Pacquiao or Errol Spence from a desire to prove that he's the best. He just wants to get paid.
That's it.
And when it comes to getting paid, look, I think we all want to get paid. I mean, I don't think that that's a sentiment that is exclusive to boxers. Anybody that works towards anything wants to get paid.
We all do.
But when that's the only thing you want, when that's all you're really in it for...
And you're just in it for the money.
Those fight camps, those grueling fight camps that these fighters go through in preparation for a fight.
Right?
You're going through that. You're not going through preparation to try and go out there and prove that you're the better fighter. You're not preparing to go out there and try to prove that you're the best. What you're doing is preparing to get paid. That's it. Make the weight, do your best, try to show up.
Because you want to get paid.
That shouldn't be confused with wanting to prove that you are the best, that you're the best at what you do. You pride yourself in that. Wanting to get paid shouldn't be confused with that. Now, wanting to get paid and wanting to prove that you're the best, those two things aren't mutually exclusive. You can want both. Floyd Mayweather Jr. did. I think more so than most. I think that his desire to get paid far exceeds that of anyone else in professional boxing in today's day and age. There's no question that Floyd Mayweather wanted to get paid, but he wanted more than that. He wanted to be the best. And he, if no one else, thought of himself as such. It was important to him. That's why he, unlike Keith Diamond, didn't balloon in weight between fights. He was a gym rat. He kept himself in peak physical condition. It mattered to him, not just getting paid, but being the best at what he did. Because he understood the relationship between those two things. If you really are the best at what you do, oh, trust, you will get paid.
Oh, yeah.
But as far as coining the phrase TBE, the best ever, because that is the context that he wanted to be thought of, that is what he wanted to be associated with, being the best, not just getting paid. And for fighters like Keith Diamond, Nerys Ugas, that's the problem. Their attempts are half-hearted attempts because they're only in it for half the rewards. They just want to get paid. They don't want to leave something behind, not concerned with legacy. They just want to get paid. And that puts a cap on their potential as fighters. That puts a cap, a ceiling on just how far they can go. I think that Keith Diamond has hit that ceiling. I think that it's not because he has one professional loss in his record. You can bounce back from a loss so long as you're in the right headspace, so long as your head's in the game, it's in the right place. You can bounce back from a loss. It's not the loss has caused Keith Diamond to hit his ceiling. It's that he's not in it for legacy. He's not doing something that he loves. He just wants to get paid. And I think that much is obvious to everyone, or it should be by now. In other news, Luis Nery aims to unify division, ranks the top fighters at 118 pounds. I see myself with the 4 titles at bantamweight, WBC, WBO, WBA, and IBF, and at super bantamweight. That is my long-term goal. There is talent and there is enough time to achieve it, said Nery in an interview with Ernesto Amador. Nery, former world champion at bantamweight, accepts his mistakes mostly because he failed to make the weight for more than one contest. I realized my mistakes. I have enough time in my career to demonstrate what I can do, and we are going to get ahead. I'm dying to be up in the ring, make the weight, make a spectacular fight, and then another big fight to remove that image of myself. I'm already impatient to fight. Nery confirmed that he will fight Aaron Alameda at 122 pounds on August 29th in the United States in a fight slated to be televised by Showtime. I have a month and 3 weeks of training in Guadalajara, and what is missing is 7 more weeks working with Eddie Reynoso, improving my defense, more accurate shots, the stronger ones, planning my feet well. We are working very hard. We fit perfectly well. He has a lot of experience with Saul Alvarez. You can see in his fights how he has been improving. I realize that in sparring, training, I have improved a lot. Eddie puts a lot of discipline in you, puts a lot of pressure in the gym. He's very serious in training. 118 pounds is a very difficult division, very attractive. That's why they tell me to clean it up first. If I had to rank the bantamweight division, for me, I would put Rigondeaux first, then Nonito Donaire, then Naoya Inoue, then Jason Maloney, John Riel Casimiro, and in the end, I would put Nordine Oubaali. We are going to talk to the promoter. Who are the ones who are going to decide? I am going to go against the best. They want me to first sweep 118 and then go up to 122. My goal has always been to get all 4 titles in each division. You know, when it comes to Luis Nery, I don't know whether or not this guy is coming or going. When last I checked, the news was that he was going to go up to 122 because he was struggling to make 118. Well, now they've gone back on that, and they've decided that what they want Luis Nery to do is clean up 118 pounds. Clean that division out. And I don't know how realistic a proposition that is because at least 2 of the 4 world titles, 118 pounds, sit on the top-ranked side of things.
And the Ring Magazine belt.
Talking about the unified champion, Naoya Inoue. And if things pick up where they left off for Naoya Inoue, he's set to be going into a unification match with the WBO champion, John Riel Casimiro. That could turn those 2 titles that sit on the top-ranked side of things into 3 titles that sit on the top-ranked side of things. Would leave only the WBC title to add to the collection. The WBC title that Nordine Oubaali was supposed to be defending against Nonito Donaire when Tom Brown put in a bid to stage that fight as part of a PBC card back in January. I don't know if that's a precursor to the winner of that fight potentially entering into a relationship with the PBC. Here today, I know of no such relationship being established with either Nonito Donaire and the PBC or Nordine Oubaali and the PBC.
Is there one?
As it stands, the PBC has no full-fledged world titles in the 118-pound division. When Luis Nery talks about unifying titles, I wonder, him being a PBC fighter, how exactly is that supposed to happen? Would the PBC allow this guy to cross over some other side of the street for a one-off, one fight, in the hopes that he'll come back with a world title? Because unless they are, I don't see how this guy's supposed to be unifying anything. We already know about the PBC's island policy. We already know that they rather keep anything and everything in-house. And it just so happens that as far as in-house champions at 118 pounds, they don't have any
World titles over there.
Not 122. It's a little different. At 122, just so happens that the WBC champion, Ray Vargas, he's on the PBC side of things. What could be the very next WBO champion in that weight class? That contest between Stephen Fulton and Angelo Leo,
What a WBO.
regardless of who wins it, is going to result in yet another world title. Sits on the PBC side of things at 122 pounds. So I'm wondering, instead of trying to get Luis Nery to clean up a weight class where they don't even have any belts at a weight that he's been struggling to make over the years, so much so that the Emmanuel Rodriguez fight got fucking canceled, instead of wasting that guy's time doing that, why don't you just let him go up to 122 pounds? Give him the winner of Fulton versus Leo, or match him against the WBC's champion, Ray Vargas, in an all-Mexican shootout. Why don't you just do that? Because the only thing he's going to run into at 118 pounds is a lot of politics. The only guy that the PBC has at 118 pounds, aside from Luis Nery, is Guillermo Rigondeaux. What, you going to make that fight?
Rigo ain't a champion.
All he's got is a baby belt, the lesser version of Naoya Inoue's title. So how's Luis Nery plan on unifying all the world titles at 118 pounds when there ain't no world titles on that side of the street? It's $1 million question. Because I'll tell you what, I don't want to see what's going on up there at 147 pounds happening at 118. That's right. I want to see everybody getting all fucking worked up about what could be Nery versus Inoue when we all know the politics of boxing have a lot to do with whether or not that fight does or doesn't happen. That if Luis Nery has all these aspirations of unifying the division, I'm imagining he's going to go to Naoya Inoue to do it. He's going to have to go through him because Naoya Inoue isn't going to come to him.
Nope.
Inoue is the unified champion, the hottest ticket in the 118-pound division. So if you want to fight with that guy, you've got to cross the street, buddy. And the people that handle your career, they've got a reputation for not allowing their fighters to cross the street. If it's your goal to unify the 118-pound division,
Okay.
you're going to have to deal with Inoue at some point to do it. He's not going to come to you. You're going to have to come to him.
Pretty much.
He's the unified and Ring Magazine champion at this weight. That's who Inoue is. Who's Luis Nery?
Who is he?
the disgraced former WBC champion.
Who is he?
Tested positive for a performance-enhancing drug in a Feist Yamanaka fight. Managed to blow the weight and be stripped of the WBC title in the second Yamanaka fight. Is this the Luis Nery who subsequently had the Emmanuel Rodriguez bout canceled as a result of, once again, blowing the weight? Is this the Luis Nery we're talking about? Because if this is the Luis Nery that wants to unify the division, then this is the Luis Nery that's going to have to go through Naoya Inoue to do it.
Yep.
And in order to do that, you're going to have to go to him, because he's not going to come to you. The only way I can see this fight becoming a realistic proposition is if the people over there at the PBC have Luis Nery challenge Guillermo Rigondeaux for his version of the WBA title, the lesser version of Naoya Inoue's title. If Luis Nery challenges Rigo for that belt
And wins.
he then effectively lines himself up for a Naoya Inoue fight, at which point the WBA has to order it. That's the only way I see this thing becoming a realistic proposition. That's the only way I can see this thing happening. And anything outside of this is just much ado of nothing. You're just sitting there talking about that guy, name-dropping that guy, but you're not actually taking any steps to lock horns with him.
Wasting time.
And I don't want to see that shit. 118 pounds has been getting along just fine without the chatter and the clout chasing, the needless name dropping, the absence of action that we see in other weight classes. Now, I cringe a little bit every time I hear Gervonta Davis mention Vasyl Lomachenko's name.
He has no intention of fighting him.
Well, he's had several years and several opportunities to do it, but he's more content mentioning him, name-dropping him about what he would do if they did fight. But if there were any truth to that, well, you'd have fought him already. Teofimo, for some reason, years later, beat you to the punch. So name-dropping him at this point really is just another example of clout chasing. And this is what I don't want to see happening in the 118-pound division. I don't need it.
I don't want it.
So if Luis Nery insists on talking about unifying the division, I expect to see some action. And if I don't, then this guy might as well just go up there to 122. There's 2 world champions, or there will be 2 world champions on your same side of the street that you could be challenging instead of name-dropping a fighter you have no intention of fighting. Let's see how the story unfolds for Luis Nery.